Yeah, hello, hi. Could I please get one Grande Inquisitor? Actually, no, take it back. Please give me a Venti. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today, we're going to look at the new Lightspeed bundles for both Dad Bod Boba and Grand Inquisitor. They're both intriguing and potentially overpriced. So let's talk about them. Let's talk about my patrons first. They're amazing, and you guys are worthy of laurels. Thank you guys so much for everything. I really truly appreciate every single one of you. And guys, if you want to support this channel for free, you know the deal. Please hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount the algorithm before the algorithm has a chance to mount us back. Unless we're into that, I'm not. I'll be honest. You guys don't need to worry about that, though. All right, so first, let's look at the Scion of Django one, Dad Bod Boba, DBB. If you ever see that acronym and don't know what that stands for, that's what people call him, Dad Bod Boba. So he's kind of interesting. He's $40 for just this one character. It's a Lightspeed bundle character, and there's a couple interesting things about it. First off, it comes with the level 8 abilities, which means when you buy this, it comes with all 3 Omicrons. Now, that used to be an amazing deal, and typically, if you want to spend $40, it's going to be tough to buy. Like, you can't buy 40 or 3 Omicrons for $40. Not typically anyways. So pretty good deal if you really want all of those Omicrons. The problem being, of course, that he's kind of past his prime, unfortunately, guys. And don't mean just his character. I mean, he's just not like his character in the movies. He's also his character in the game. In the meta is just not that great. They're TW Omicrons, which obviously, well, if you watched me for too long, you know I don't love territory wars, but I don't even mean that. Like, nothing against people who want to play territory wars. The issue is he's just not used by the top TW guilds anymore. That's just not a thing that is happening. He used to be used to kill Lord Vader teams, every version of them, and people just don't place Lord Vader squads on defense anymore. So he also has a few other niche uses, but for the most part, even with all 3 Omicrons, he's not that useful in the endgame TW scene. Now, if you're in an earlier guild, that's pretty good, I guess. Just realize that as things progress, he's going to get less and less useful, and this is all for the cost of $40 for one character that is relatively easy to farm in Proving Grounds. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's fast to farm, and if you have one of the many kind of template teams to be able to beat a lot of the Proving Grounds squads, he's going to be able to get that for you. You can sim it pretty easy, and when you finally unlock him, there's no urgency to use him unless your guild for some reason really wants him, because you don't need to use him anywhere. He is a mercenary, which is the relatively new faction tag, and that's kind of that can probably fit into a few different good teams. He's probably going to be moderately useful moving forward sometimes. He's not even that good as a Tuscan, however. Like, if you use the GAC Tuscan Omicron, you don't even want to do that. I think, is that the Chieftain's Omicron that makes him into a Tuscan? Still not that good, honestly, because you want the Tuscan Raider to go with the Tuscan Chieftain. So I just don't see much value in this, guys. $40, yes, you get some Omicrons, and you get to Relic 6. That's nice, and that's I mean, and it's a Proving Grounds character. It's a tough character to get if you're in a rush to get him, but I just don't see much overt value. He's also not required for anything. It's not like, oh, you need to unlock this important ship, and to do that, you need Dad Bod Boba. It just doesn't work out that way, unfortunately. So I would say this is a relatively low priority, folks. One other interesting thing I should point out is you can't currently, I actually asked CG about this, they're going to look into it, so we'll see if it changes, but right now, like, my account can't buy this pack because I think it's because I'm relic 7 on him on my main account. I only have one of his Omicrons though, so in theory, and this is why I asked, in theory you still could potentially get some value added if you had a relic 7 Dad Bod Boba, but you're like, oh, I would love to just get the Omicrons for 40 bucks. That I don't even, it's just nice to have that option, right? So right now I can't do that though. Like I missed the opportunity to be able to get those. So if you ask if I'm going to buy this on my small account, the one that I only buy Lightspeed bundles and the Conquest Pass on every month, the answer is no. I will not be spending money on this for any reason, really. I don't think the Omicrons, even at a discounted dollar rate, is great for this. I think this is one of the worst Lightspeed bundles they've released. I don't really mean to be critical of them, and I do like that they added the Omicrons. Without the Omicrons, this would be an abysmal one, but he's just so unuseful. He is not useful in the game, generally speaking. I would not advise spending money on this, guys. I'm sorry to say that's just how it is. He's just not that good. Now, Inquisition, this one is more interesting to me. It's $50, and I mean, so the same kind of caveat that we usually give. I mean, if you wanted to, so this is like $10 per character, right? Like I defy someone to try to spend $10 per character from zero. From having gear 0 or gear 1, whatever, on these characters and getting them all the way to 7 stars and relic 5 without spending more than $10. Like, obviously it's a great deal if you want to spend money. If you like per character, $10 per character to get them all the way to relic 5. They're all very Chirotech heavy, expensive, whatever, and you can immediately then go and unlock Grand Inquisitor. Now there's a few caveats here as usual. First off, you're not getting any of their Zetas with them. They're all level 8 abilities for Zetas, and they only come with their level 7s. So if you're wanting to get the most out of these Inquisitors, most of them need all of their Zetas. Not all of them. I actually have an unlock video on how to unlock Grand Inquisitor, but you typically do want a few Zetas, so you're not getting any Zetas for them. I mean, the relics are enough to justify the dollar cost, I suppose, but if you're trying to get a little bit more value add, I mean, $50 is a big chunk of change. Like, it's way easier to just spend like 10 or 20 bucks on a Lightspeed bundle as opposed to 50. That's a significant investment, right? At least in my opinion it is, and I would assume that's this case for a lot of you. So how do we justify that $50? I mean, there's a few different asterisks involved here. Like, this one is the more complex thing. I think it's just a straight up bad deal to get the Scion of Django one. This one has a few like asterisks. Have you ever tried to say the word asterisks after realizing how it's spelled? It's complex, folks. It's very challenging for me. For you, I'm sure you're talented enough to not have issues with it, but it's like pronouncing onomatopoeia or something like that. So anyways, if you can get Riva for this squad, then that's probably the way to justify spending $50, because Riva unlocks them being good. If you don't have Riva, if you're in a guild that's earning like 2 Riva shards a month and one of them is you, or both of them are you, because it's every month, so you're doing territory battles twice a month, then first off, probably find a new guild, because your guild's lazy or too small for what you're contemplating, or maybe they're a great bunch of people, but one way or another, that's what makes them worth it. Not Grand Inquisitor. Grand Inquisitor is just another rung on the ladder, like that, and that's a multi-tier process of making your Inquisition good. But once you get to the top, once you get Riva, once you can afford all the Omicrons and the all of the good mods that you want with them, and all the relic levels, because it's an escalating thing. It's the relic 5 now, but then you want most of them to get to 7 so that you can do the Riva mission for at least to help your guild get more shard shop currency difficulty, and then eventually you want them all to be 8 so that you can get GT3 for your guild in the phase 4 Haven territory battle thing. Plus you want them to be high relics anyways, because they do a lot of damage and counter a lot of high level amazing stuff, and they always have a good datacron because they have really good faction tags. Then these guys, it's continuously something you're going to be spending money on. And so like you get these 5, and if you just leave it there, they're not that good. But then, okay, you can unlock Grand Inquisitor. That's great. Then you have to gear him, put relics on him, put Zetas on him, maybe put one of his Omicrons on, because one of them is a transcendent amazing one. And then you still have to get Riva and spend all that gear and relics and stuff for her. And then you have to put relics on all of these characters to match what your needs are. It's very expensive. The squad is amazing. This is only a few of the steps up the ladder. Now, it's a lot of steps in terms of how much Chirotech you have to spend, how well you're doing. The other factor here, folks, is the fleet used to be amazing. That used to be the other way you justified getting Inquisition. First off, I mean, they're amazing. They're God mode in all the game modes. They really are. They're amazing. They're an amazing Transcendent squad. They also used to have a really good fleet. Fleet is now defunct. CG just randomly, for no reason at all, just seemed like arbitrarily just nerfed something that had like a buff that had been going on for well over a year. And now the fleet sucks. And so the fleet is just not nearly as good or relevant as it used to be, and it's just an enormous amount expenditure of time and effort. And so for $50 you can get a huge way there. Remember though, you still have 2 more Inquisitors to work on. You have to go through the somewhat tough process of unlocking Grand Inquisitor himself, and then you have to have a situation where you have Riva, and then you still have those 2 characters, which those are the 2 most expensive ones to gear and relic, gear and relic. So I guess what I'm really saying is they call it the Grand Inquisitor Lightspeed bundle, and that's not inaccurate. It's just, it doesn't paint the picture of it's like if you go up an escalator and the escalator stops halfway there, and then you just have to walk up the stairs manually, and those stairs are kind of like bigger than normal steps because it's not really designed to be like walked up. It's kind of like that. Like, it'll take you part of the way, but it won't get you all the way to where you want to be, because you're still missing relics, you're still missing a lot of gear, you're missing the 2 most important characters, you're missing the Zetas, you're missing more relics on all the characters that were already purchased for $50. So that's all worth it to you for a Transcendent amazing squad that's just kind of like a cheat code in Conquest and in other modes? Sure, man, it's great. Honestly, I'm not gonna knock you for wanting to buy this pack. $50 to have a shortcut through all of those Chirotech that are required it's not a bad thing, guys. It's not a bad thing. It's a good deal if you have $50 to spend. But it's just more complicated than it looks like. It's kind of getting Starkiller as well. You get Starkiller and you're like, okay, I want to go use Starkiller, and then you find out you can't actually use Starkiller with the characters that you've used to unlock him. You're gonna have to go get a light side and a line force user that's actually worth a damn. You have to find a good tanky light side Jedi character. You're gonna need a Sith like Emperor Palpatine, and those aren't insurmountable. It's just not the complete picture. Get Starkiller, great, and then you have to add more characters to that list. Very similar. So anyways, guys, that's about it for today. Those are the 2 new ones. Pretty interesting one. The Inquisition one especially is pretty interesting. If you ask if I'm going to be spending money on this one, that's a big question mark. My guess is not. I don't have the money lately to be able to spend on something like this, even though my alternate account would love this. The thing that would bring it over the top for me is if the fleet was actually still good, then I'd be like, okay, probably should do this. It is good to some degree. I will regret not getting it one way or another. I think for $50, this is very competitively priced. It's like, well, all right, when you have to make a decision, as opposed to some of these Lightspeed bundles, you're just like, yeah, okay, for $10, of course, I'm getting Jedi Revan and all of his unlocked things. Like that's fairly obvious, etc. So, anyways, let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Maybe I didn't cover something that was really important there that I missed. That often happens. People in comments. I mean, we all put our brains together, and we can come up with a better truth than with just my sole arbiter of truth opinion comes in and tries to tell you what to do. So, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails. And I hope you do too. Take care, folks.